Hello and happy midweek greetings from Radically Rational and RadicallyRational.com. Hey, I got an idea. Let's turn Tucker Carlson loose with an editing machine. You tell me, what is more outrageous? The fact that Kevin McCarthy is giving personal access to all of this Capitol security footage to Tucker Carlson? Or is it the fact that McCarthy is now saying that Tucker Carlson, admitted liar, admitted shill, will be more objective and less political than was the Jan 6 committee? It's just unbelievable. And I've got a couple of questions. First of all, why is it Kevin McCarthy's dominion to be over all of this footage? Why does he have control over it? I don't understand that. And why would he have the right to turn it over to somebody else individually? If you're going to do the objective thing, wouldn't you turn it over to everybody and anybody who wants it? I will promise you that journalists are going to rightly and properly fight this under the Freedom of Information Act, and this should disturb everybody. So here's what will happen. You've already seen what happened on January 6th. So they'll go through all this footage and they'll find isolated frames and clips of things not happening, and that they will say that that then is representative of what happened on January 6th, and will be right back to their lame defense. They'll go right back to claiming that January 6th, an attempt to overthrow the government of the United States, absolutely an armed insurrection, they'll go back to saying that it was just a brand new episode of the Dukes of Hazzard that got a little rowdy. No. You say this, I was genuinely unamused yesterday when the forewoman of that special grand jury in Fulton County, Georgia, jumped on TV and engaged in self-promotion and said that she expects multiple indictments out of that grand jury investigation, and kind of hints at who they are, and there's this gleefulness about her. It was improper at every level, ill-timed to say the least, but beyond that, if there are indictments, and if there are indictments of people who are guilty, these remarks, this self-promotion is going to be used with great effectiveness by defense teams. That was just not cool. Okay, the White House says that President Biden's remarks yesterday in Warsaw were not a rebuttal to what Mr. Putin had so darkly and dourly said in Moscow. Well, of course it was a rebuttal, and it was an absolutely brilliant one. The contrast that the president drew between the ascendance of democracies around the globe right now and the decline of autocracies could not have been more effective. And let's get this straight. This Russian war in Ukraine is now a year old. Say whatever you want about Joe Biden on any other subject, but he has been masterful in overseeing the United States' involvement in this conflict. He's not made a single misstep. He has foxed Putin's jock at every turn, and he just did it again. All right, if you want to know more about this or hear more about it or discuss it more, go to our blog at RadicallyRational.com, but that is a fascinating case in front of the Supreme Court right now. And I'm talking about the case involving Section 230 of that Communications Decency Act in 1996. Again, I really get into the weeds on the blog, but this is interesting because this law was created to protect internet platforms and social media carriers from being legally liable for content posted by third parties. And the test case here is really interesting. Now, if this is making your head hurt and your eyes glaze over, don't worry, you're in good company, because in that 3-hour oral argument session yesterday before the Supreme Court, all 9 of the justices just appeared not to want anything to do with this. But it is something that's really going to impact our society going forward. So if you want to know more or have a discussion about this, go over to the blog at RadicallyRational.com. Sports. Brock Purdy's elbow surgery has been postponed because the swelling has still not gone down in his elbow. This was going to be a tight window anyway, because under best case scenario, it's a 6-month recovery time. The surgery's now been pushed back at least until early March, meaning that he would be available at the end of August at the earliest, and that is if everything goes well. Where's Derek Carr going to end up? I hope anywhere he wants, because I support that guy. But right now it looks to me like the best fit for him would be the Jets, because by adding Carr, the Jets could get pretty good pretty quickly. What an uplifting story. You heard the story about former Arkansas and NFL running back Peyton Hillis, who almost lost his life while saving a group of people, including some family members, from drowning, and then almost drowned himself. It was really touch and go for a while, but he's out of the hospital and he is going to make a 100% recovery. That's great. Looks to me like it's over between the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think the Packers are heartbroken about this whatsoever. And finally, you want ugly? It's going to get really ugly between Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And that's not going to be a good situation for anyone. This is a good situation, and we thank you. BB and I have really gone through a rough time worrying about the health of our beloved dog, Frankie. We got a pretty terrible medical scare there, but thanks to your thoughts and prayers and the unbelievable abilities of a wonderful veterinarian here in San Antonio, Frankie is going to be just fine, and you had a big hand in that. Thank you for that. Have a wonderful Wednesday. We are Radically Rational.